Okay, right. So go back to screen sharing. Is everybody here? Let me know you're here if you're telling me something in the chat so that I don't feel like I'm just sitting here talking to a computer. Okay. Hello, Narelle. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. And Toshi, are you there? You can turn your microphone on if you wish, and so say hello. I don't think we're going to get anyone else coming in, so I'll start straight away pretty much. Okay. So
Hello.
hello, Toshi. Great to hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. We'll get on.
Yes.
We'll get on with the presentation. Got another one coming in right now. Okay. So here we go. So my goal here is to try and tell you as much as I can about biofeedback using Spooky2 so that you can understand it in a practical context at home. So let's start thinking about what biofeedback really is. Essentially, it's a method whereby we get accurate numbers. And we get accurate numbers for things that we're trying to kill inside our body or various forms of healing that we're trying to achieve. So you can perform biofeedback with the Generator X Pro or the Blue XM generators with the pulse unit. And it's a question of getting the accurate frequencies for your condition. A snapshot of frequencies are needed by the body at the time are created. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the image of someone using the pulse unit, which measures the heart rate, so that the heart itself will become an indicator as to which frequency the body is reacting best to. Okay, so types of scan we're going to cover today. And all these different forms of scan have different functionalities to them. So I'm going to go into it quite quickly, but also to help you to provide you with an understanding. You got your fast biofeedback, general biofeedback, with or without baseline, the grade scan, which I'm really keen on, and then refined programs or optimized scan, then sample digitizer, and of course, hunt and kill, scan and run, and the use of the scalar digitizer as well. So these are all different. They operate in different ways, and they operate on the body in slightly different ways. Okay, the fast biofeedback only on Generator X Pro is the scan, which, as its name implies, can be done in just a few minutes. It has a lower resolution than other forms of scan, so it won't provide you with pinpoint total accuracy. So if you want pinpoint total accuracy, you have to go for a longer scan. If you want to get your numbers quickly, it's quite convenient to just do quick scans or fast scans if you want. You know, it's another suitable tool against your conditions that you've got right now to be able to scan quickly. The general biofeedback scan is about 19 minutes worth on Generator X or Generator X Pro. It does pick up a lot of things inside the body that needs dealing with, taking into account the frequency range of the scan. The scan will pick up the pathogens that shout the loudest, that are the highest population inside your body and are causing the more problems. And we can therefore assume that they're predominant pathogen in the area that's being scanned with the Generator X Pro. Adding the baseline to the scan will increase accuracy because your body is receiving EMF radiation from all kinds of places, and that can affect the results, but not necessarily significantly. So you have to work out for yourself whether you feel like using a baseline or not. I use a combination of different scan types under different circumstances for my own body. Okay. Now, grade scanning is a cool bit of terminology we use in Spooky2 Rife in order to say which of the frequencies from a number of different frequency sets are more significant to the body. So let's say you're targeting a particular thing. Let's say it's Candida. You can then grade scan lots and lots and lots of Candida sets with maybe over 100 frequencies in them total. And you can get the top 10, the top 20, the top 30, or whatever it is you prefer for your body. And then those results you can then treat yourself with in a targeted way, going out targeted manner to the pathogens in question. So if you're not sure if you got mold or yeast or Candida, you could essentially grade scan with a lot of them, and then you'll find the most predominant frequencies being returned to you. So you'll be tackling whichever part of your disease is got overgrown at the time. Now, refined programs means taking existing numbers and making them more accurate to your body. So refined programs can be run on existing database frequency sets in order to, instead of it being, let's say, a frequency number of 2000, it goes to 1999.987388642. So you get, let's say, I don't know, 5 or 7 decimal places worth of extra accuracy, which means that it's much easier to tackle your infection. What some people do is they take the results of their past biofeedbacks and will also run refined programs or optimized scan on the results. Optimized scan is a term we use for the XM generator with the pulse unit, and refined programs is the term we use for the generator X Pro unit biofeedback. Now, the sample digitizer, for which there is an image in the bottom right-hand corner, is a fun thing. It digitizes what is in the sample. So if you've got sputum, you've got green mucus in your lungs, you want to kill off the pathogens in that, you've got any other boils or any infection of your urine, you can take a biological sample. You can place it between the slides, and you can run biofeedback on it. Forgive me. For the purposes of getting the precise frequencies which was present in the pathogens within that particular sample. There is also an aspect of the database which is called the SD database, and that's because experimenters have run all kinds of pathogens through Sample Digitizer and have increased the Spooky2 database for free, just because they want to. Okay. Now, Hunt and Kill is a different variety of biofeedback scan, often used by way of maintenance. It's an overnight contact session, and what it does is it takes a scan of the body, finds the top 10 numbers, returns them to the body in the form of running that frequency set, and then it will change through running a refined scan on those existing numbers to make them more accurate, and then it will go out against the same pathogens all over again and again and again, continually throughout the night. And it carries on until you stop it personally yourself. Now, scan and run is a slightly different animal, very similar to hunt and kill, but what it doesn't do is a refined scan. It does a whole body scan. It does a general biofeedback scan. It runs the results of the top 10 frequencies on your body, and it then does another fresh scan. So by its nature, hunt and kill will go after the same pathogens time and time and time again in a very dogged way. Scan and run, on the other hand, will tackle different pathogens within each time because it will pick up different pathogens in each scan. Again, it's an overnight contact session. Okay, so you have to work out for yourself whether it's one major issue you're trying to doggedly attack or whether it is more general issues you want to work on yourself. Now, Scalar Digitizer, which is a tiny component that we add to the Scalar devices, and we use the Generator X Pro generator to operate, can find anomalies within your energy system when you're lying between the Scalar boxes. So therefore, that's much more of a whole body experience, much more of a whole body scan, as opposed to the hunt and kill, scan and run, which is mainly to do with what's between the pads. All right, so Scalar Digitizer can provide you with a whole body scan, but it's only providing you with a scalar scan. All right, so it's normally recommended to run it on scalar equipment. All right, but I tend to do most of my biofeedbacks and run them on plasma myself personally because I'm going out after pathogens and I'm doing much less tissue healing. Okay, basic equipment for biofeedback. Start off with the blue XM generator and the pulse unit. That's basically all you would need. There's decent instructions online as to how to set that up. The pulse unit measures the heartbeat and its strength. The heart will react if the frequency that the body is experiencing is significant for your health. That goes with both healing and also killing, but we change the settings very slightly for healing and killing if we want. Pulse scans take a long time. That's why most people prefer to use Generator X Pro. But the process of the pulse scan is a frequency pathogen sweep in its own right. And so if done regularly, it could easily cut down quite a lot of the illnesses inside your body or a lot of the infections. So that's on the right-hand side, the image of the pulse units, and on the left-hand side, one of the two XM generator kits. Okay. The Generator X Pro can be used for the contact method, the sample digitizer method, and the scalar digitizer method, because the Generator X Pro is like the brain, and all the other things are the peripherals to enable the brain to do its work, if you get my drift. And of course, there's an image of your Generator X Pro and the things which come in the kit. Namely, sample digitizer, hand cylinders, contact cable, TENS pads, cold laser wrist, cold laser twin, PEMF coil, and spare slides for your sample digitizer. So if you're using the pulse unit, this is what you would do. You start off on presets, click on biofeedback. Once you click on biofeedback, it takes you to what's in the middle illustration here, in which case you're on presets, you clicked on biofeedback, and then you can just click on Spooky Pulse, and then you can click on General, which will be on the next window. If you want to find out about it, you will then see where the Click Me PDF on how to do scanning with the pulse units is included in the software. In blue type towards the top of the screen, you can see the address. It's in biofeedback/Spooky Pulse. And that's where it is. You will need to study that. You will need to go into it in great detail on the basis you want to use pulse scanning. Right, type of pulse scan. Now, the pulse scan takes a long time. So as you can see from the illustration on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, we've got half scans and quarter scans. So you can do 4 quarter scans and then lace them all together, combine the results of them into one chain, and then run them for your body. And that'll provide you with a good way of tackling whatever the issues are there in the body using the pulse scan method. Okay, you can do the general purpose scan. You can do the gray program shell. So you can actually do grade scanning with the pulse unit. Hunt and heal is something which can be done with the pulse unit as well, which delivers to your body things that the body needs for healing, and therefore harmonic resonance with with the sick organs, with the sick tissues. It provides the healthy frequencies to get them working right. And there's also a most common frequencies, which literally scans you against the frequencies that come up the most in our Spooky2 database. And we've got the biggest database in the world, so it is understood. Then there's optimized scan, which is similar to what we mentioned before. It's a bit like grade scanning. It tests existing frequency sets. Like the results of past biofeedbacks, including grade scans. Okay, I've written hints there, because if you've done a lot of biofeedbacks and you save them onto your computer, the ones you did last week will be less relevant to the ones you need to do now, but it will still have some numbers in it, which will be important to keeping pathogens under control. Okay, so therefore optimizing is really important, and grade scan is really important. Okay. Now, with Generator X Pro biofeedback, it's a different method. It's looked at differently than the XM generator. It operates on 2 primary metrics. One of them is current, the quantity of energy that is received by the second TENS pad, and the other is angle or phase angle, which shows you how out of whack the frequency is when it reaches the second TENS pad. Both of these are significant indicators of there being some toxic pathogenic stuff going on inside you, and then you will then get the numbers returned to you as a result of the biofeedback itself. Does that make sense? Now, when you're thinking about placing the TENS pads, they're unlike with the XM generator and the pulse method. When you place one TENS pad right wrist and the other one left ankle, and you're going through the whole body, you have to place the pads closer together. So either side of the waist is regarded as being the whole body configuration for Generator X scanning. It isn't the whole body. There will still be things in your feet and in your fingers which won't be caught by it. It'll get the most of your pathogens through scanning with the TENS pads either side of the waist. Now, that's for taking the results of the biofeedback. When running the results, you want to go for the whole body configuration again. That's right wrist, left ankle with your TENS pads. But there are other forms of positioning, which you can Google for. Literally go onto Google, type in Spooky2 TENS pad placement, and you get imagery like this coming up on your screen, which shows you where you can place the pads for different varieties of scanning and treating. Okay, so there's various places you can go to for the shoulder, for the quadriceps, for the knee, for the upper back, hip and buttock, sciatica, abdominal strengthening, calf pain, shin pain, lower back problems. It's all out there, okay? Spooky2 has provided you with lots of learning resources, which is out there and available for you to Google for. All right. So we'll have a quick look at the software setup. It's similar to the software setup for the XM, but it's got some differences too, and I think it's a bit simpler. So initially, right at the beginning screen on presets, click Biofeedback, then click Generator X, just like we see in the illustrations on the screen. Then you've got your entire list of different types of biofeedbacks you can do. To the most part, you'll be doing general biofeedback scan. You might want to do high frequency biofeedback scan if you've got some serious conditions going on, like ones beginning with a letter C, so some people suggest, because some scary conditions occur in the high frequency bracket. Okay. You got your hunt and kill and your scan and run for overnight sessions, refined programs to get your numbers more accurate. And of course, there's grade scan, which you can use to ascertain which out of all of the frequencies you're going to select from all the sets are the best ones for you right now. So this screen here is just a very quick rundown of all the various different types of biofeedback that there is out there. Fast biofeedback, general biofeedback with baseline, grade scan. Okay. Grade scanning is an important skill we should all learn. Then high frequency, which tackles pathogens in frequency ranges with a higher value. Okay, so there's a reason for us to have an interest in high frequency, which you can't do with the XM generator. Okay. Is that understandable? Then back to talking about scan and run again. Okay, right. If I am going too quickly for you, then please do feel free to ask me questions. Once this broadcast has come to an end, we can then go onto my private Zoom room and we can do stuff there if you want, okay? Right, okay, no problem. So when you're doing your software setup, don't be daunted by this. It's just software. You'll find it, you'll work out how to use it. Biofeedback hardware for biofeedback include the contact method mainly. We also use sample digiter and scalar digitizer as well, depending upon what you're trying to go out for, what equipment you've got. So for contact mode, by way of example, we'll make an assumption that you have the TENS pads either side of your own waist already. The contact cable is connected to output 1 of whichever generator you're using. And you'll be using this method for general scan with baseline, refined program scan, hunt and kill, basically. So let's have a quick look. What would we do? Firstly, click on presets, click on biofeedback, click on generator X. That takes you to the screen on the bottom left-hand side. We're going to, by way of this example, click on general biofeedback scan. Now, you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen, there's only one pink generator box. That's because I set up this presentation only using an XM generator plugged into my work computer. If I had the Generator X Pro plugged in, I would have 2 generator boxes because there are 2 generators built into the Generator X Pro, which is what makes it a very special product. So once you've clicked on general biofeedback scan, because this is biofeedback, you can go straight onto overwrite, click on the generator box, and then click control, which then takes you to a page which has the biofeedback box in the bottom. These are the steps I suggest that you do. Number 1, always add a log name, always add a log name, always add a log name. All right, because then you can find it in your biofeedbacks and it'll actually be entered into your biofeedbacks. You can change the step size to increase the scan, okay? So increase the speed of the scan. At the very bottom of the screen, you'll have the estimated duration of the scan. It might be a little more, it might be a little less. That's an estimated duration. The number of decimal places can be affected here. Maximum hits to find is essential, and you will need to adjust that Taking into account that when you're running the frequencies, we run them for 3 minutes each. So therefore a 10-minute set will be run for half an hour via contact mode. Do you understand? Okay. 20-minute set, 1 hour. 80 frequency set will be 4 hours. Often I do 80 frequency sets of biofeedback and run them twice overnight. So I'm getting 8 hours worth of treatment, and I'm getting the same sets repeated twice in the same 24-hour period, which I think is essential when it comes to pathogen control. Now, with grade scan and refined programs, we got a slightly different kettle of fish here. All right. The reason that these are different to general biofeedback is you aren't doing the biofeedback based on the scan alone. You're doing it based upon existing frequency sets or the results of past biofeedbacks. The purposes of grade scan and refine programs is to give you more effective treatments. And when one is used after the other, more pathogen control can be expected. Now, it's perfectly okay to just go straight to the database and select lots of Candida programs and run them all, but that will take a long time. I mean, Candida sets 1, 2, 3, and 4, not including Candida albicans, that will be a couple of hours worth of runtime. Most people don't have that quantity of time, so you do your grade scans and your refined programs on Candida sets 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that you can then get the top ones which are most significant to your body and therefore are the ones you need to treat with. And therefore will have shorter treatment time as well. So how is it set up? It's set up like this. Presets, biofeedback, generator X, grade scan. On the right-hand side of the screen, I've shown you the illustration of what I was just talking about. I've double-clicked on Candida 1, Candida 2, Candida 3, and Candida 4. They've all appeared in the loaded programs box in the bottom of the screen there. Okay, next step. Straight on the control page, overwrite, click the generator box, then click the scan button. You don't click start, you click scan. You can also add your log name and your max hits to find as well prior to clicking scan 2. All right. You will then get the results returned to you on your screen, which you can then save under a searchable name and use as your treatment set. Remember, the grade scanning will return the number of hits that you ask it to. So if the number stays as 0 on maximum hits to find, it's not going to find any hits for you. It'll do the scan, but it won't provide you with results. There will also be the most effective frequency numbers from whichever sets you're using and have put through the grade scan process. This becomes especially useful if we don't know which class of pathogens is greater in number than the other. If I've got Candida and mold and yeast, why don't I grade scan for Candida and mold and yeast, and whichever numbers are returned to me will be the ones which are most predominant inside my body. So we can actually ask the software and the hardware to do some of the semi-diagnostic work for us and to treat what it thinks is right. It's not a diagnostic tool. We don't treat Spooky2 as a diagnostic tool. It's just the way it is, but it's kind of semi-fulfills that function. Now, for refined programs, there is not much difference between refined programs and grade scan when it comes to software setup, apart from the selection of the appropriate shell. Now, for those of you who are new to Rifing, the word shell has been used in Rifing groups all around the world for a long period of time, and it basically just means most of your settings page is set up for you. Okay, so just remember that. It is confusing when you suddenly start learning about Rifing and all of a sudden people start talking about presets and shells and this, that, and the other. But these are just terminology which we come together to get accustomed to with the passage of time. The job of refined programs is to take existing frequency numbers and to make them more accurate to control the pathogen. So you can get it like accurate to like 7 decimal places. If I was to go back to, whoops, no, I can't see it here. No, well, either way, some of the Candida numbers, if they're refined, they'll become like decimal places, lots of decimal places after them. Now, when you're running, using the shells and presets, when you're running the biofeedback using your shells and presets, when you click in the presets page and it goes blue, as I have demonstrated on the right-hand side in the presets page, that means the settings have been adjusted for you. So therefore, the shell has done its job. It's gone straight to the settings page. It's adjusted things for you. Now with Sample Digitizer, the setup is, I mean, obviously the device is great. Okay, if you get a sample of any biological goo coming out of your body, you can then place it between the slides and you can find the pathogen numbers of that stuff. Plug the device into the generator's output and then put the two conductive slides with the dark area facing each other in the clip. Place your liquid sample between the conductive plates and then you're ready to do the software part. And that's what the sample digitizer and the remote and the Generator X Pro looks like in their boxes. So from what we've already seen, in the Generator X and XM Pulse Scan windows, we have some similar features. There's hunt and kill, scan and run. The frequency sets are output to another generator, but you also have grade scan and refine programs. Okay. So the process, once the hardware is set up, is to go from presets to biofeedback to the sample digitizer, select the shell, then go to control panel, click overwrite and select the generator. Then before you hit scan, pay attention to the biofeedback box at the foot of the control panel. Okay. So we're back here again on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see the biofeedback box, which is in the middle of the programs page and in the bottom of the middle. Add the name, change the resolution required, change your maximum hits defined. And on the right-hand side, you can see that you can also click run hits. Now, why you'd want to do that is to get the generator to run the results straight away after you've done the scan. So if you're sitting down watching some Buffy the Vampire Slayer or binge watching your favorite series, then essentially that's quite a fun thing to do as a way of adding a bit of extra therapy for the day. And of course, you can change the run cycles on the bottom right-hand side. It's the number of times and it will run through. So you have functionality to control the experience and the results of it. Quick chat about Scalar Digitizer. Left-hand side of the screen, you can see the Scalar Digitizer plugged into the Scalar unit, into the transmitter box. You then connect the link cable to the biofeedback device and also to the Scalar device itself. Generator 1, output 1 connected to the biofeedback device, whereas generator 2 is connected to the actual Scalar device itself, but still output 1 of the next generator. Okay, then you connect your generator to the computer, you can turn it on, turn on the Generator X, tune the boxes, get the red light nice and stable. Okay, as far as putting blood sample onto the digitizer, that would be just a question of getting a drop of blood and putting it on the slides, closing the slides up and shoving that into the digitizer, which will clam up. That's all you've got to do. All right, so we got 10 minutes remaining of this, and if necessary, we'll then go on to my private Zoom afterwards, okay? To launch the Spooky2 software, once you've launched the software, you'll see that on the screen it says which generator is which port number. So that gives you the ability to use the software properly. Select the Spooky2 Scalar Digitizer slave, because one generator becomes the slave, one becomes the master, and the slave will then follow the master. So you then have to set up the slave generator first, following the directions you can see there. And you can see in this example, we've got 2 generator boxes for the Generator X, and one that will relate to Generator 1, one will relate to Generator 2. So Generator 2 will be your slave. And then we're going to set up the master, which involves Generator 1. Then you lie between the 2 scalar units, and you get someone to click your scan button. Unless, of course, you can just do it very quickly prior to lying back between the boxes. You can create a start delay of 2000. This will give you time to start the biofeedback scan and position yourself correctly between the units. Whoops. So generator 1 will start. And then generator 2 will start, causing the Spooky2 scaler to transmit the generator frequencies. And that's pretty much what you need to know about scalar when you're setting it up for biofeedback. Then the results will appear on the screen. You'll notice that there are numbers on the right-hand side in brackets. These numbers on the right-hand side in brackets have different values depending upon whether you're scanning with generator X or the XM generator. If you're scanning with the XM generator, the numbers will always be much bigger. But these are numbers of significance, which means that the higher the number, the more significant it is to your body that that number is run. So that's why the numbers in brackets are higher at the top and lower at the bottom. You can deselect all of them if you wish through pressing the minus green button. And then you can select the number of frequencies that you want in your final result, and then you can save. So if you want a 10 frequency set for a half-hour session, then you can select the top 10 and you can deselect the bottom ones prior to clicking on save. Okay. And you can run the results on Scalar General. But remember, of course, that if you're going to use reverse lookup, Spooky2 is not and cannot be considered to be a diagnostic tool. Now, the feature of reverse lookup is very exciting for many people, but the number of times it's told me that I have infections or diseases in parts of the body where I don't actually have parts of the body is quite hilarious. So that's why we get the results of the biofeedback and we don't worry as much about reverse lookup. But if you wanted to, there's a button there on the right-hand side, and you can choose to make it more complicated. To simplify it and get some good numbers, you can reduce tolerance down to 0 if you wish, and then you get a lot of numbers. But you've got to tweak it so that you get the quality of information that you require. It does take playing around with. I personally don't use reverse lookup anymore. I don't see the point. This will be the kind of result you might get from reverse lookup. And as you can see from a few entries down, there's a few things which have come up, including Russell-Silver syndrome. I don't think I've got Russell-Silver syndrome, but whatever frequency was found there at that number is important to the body. You save the frequencies to treat later. You can try different types of results through clicking the octave harmonics when you're doing your reverse lookup. You can search all kinds of things. Okay. I think we're running a bit low on time. So we've only got 5 minutes of this presentation. So we can come back to these videos later if you wish. Okay. So that's pretty much more or less everything you need to know about biofeedback. The presentation has been recorded and I'll try and find a way of saving it somewhere. During the last few minutes of this call, and it is just a few minutes, does anyone have any questions for me? You can activate your microphone now and ask.
Hi, Nick. It's May here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I previously noted on the chat, when I did the reverse lookup and it shows me all the biofeedback scan that I did in the past. What does that mean?
That means that those biofeedbacks are still saved on your computer and you still have some pathogens in your body which relates to those particular biofeedbacks.
Right.
So you need to grade scan those biofeedbacks and then you need to run the results. I mean, I would do grade scan and refine programs on them. So you get accurate numbers and then you treat yourself with it quite a lot because there's some pathogen you've got which is still there. It may have been reduced, but it's still there. Or maybe your new biofeedbacks are picking up new things and the old stuff is still growing and trying to build cities and make its, make its home inside you. You just got to do more work.
Yeah, and also like when it picked up all the frequencies like the essential oil, the everything, is that mean that I have that in my body?
No, there's just a harmonic of that thing inside you. So it doesn't mean to say you've got an essential oil inside you. It means you've got a harmonic of that frequency. So what we do with our biofeedback is we don't worry about what reverse lookup says. We just run the results. All we know is that the biofeedback is the product of things that we need to treat inside the body. So instead of worrying about what it is, we just treat with it.
Oh, okay. And how long can you treat, like, you know, based on the result?
As long as you want.
Okay.
All right. You know, work out what your body's telling you. Work out what your significance numbers are telling you.
Okay.
And then think things through that way. All right. Looking at the symptoms of your disease and seeing how they get better and how you feel is the most important thing you can do.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Anything else quickly before we go?
I'm having trouble with getting things to load onto the generator. And I don't know why. I've tried to do the wellness thing from
Well,
I don't know where.
why not continue running it off the computer anyway? Because standalone is only really for when you're traveling, and it's not suitable for contact method because it doesn't reduce to the lower frequencies.
I use remote all the time.
Okay, well then that should be fine. Then you can create remote shells and then save the remote shell program on the Generator X using the load function. Right.
Yes, I'm very new to it. I've had it for a while, but I haven't really explored it. Okay. And it's very challenging to somebody who's not very computer.
That's understandable. But I would suggest you do many more treatments using contact work because you get much more power that way. All right. Remote is like it's a supportive treatment. It's not supposed to be the core treatment for your body. It's contact and plasma, which is where the core stuff happens, and the remote gives it a certain level of supportiveness to the work you're doing with contact and plasma.
Right. Okay. Yes, I need to really get online and have a look at the tutorials that are available. Can you suggest any really good basic tutorials online online?
Basically all of them. Go to the website spooky2videos.com and a lot of the things you'll be able to search for will be there. Literally go onto Google and type Spooky2 followed by any question, and Google will return the answers because Spooky2 has been incredibly prolific in the generation of blogs. You will find them. I can't really tell you one or two which you should go to specifically. I would tell you to just sit at your computer, Google like crazy, and experiment upon your body. Okay,
yeah.
That's the best way forward.
The Spooky2 Academy, that's my go-to.
That's a good place to go. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now I don't have PayPal. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.